what Lincoln was fighting for. But where would we be today if he had decided to stay home? Would we be, or could we even be standing here today if he had not led the battle that he led? He didn't know he'd be a hero, or even that his republic that he was fighting for would survive. Dred Scott wasn't sure that he would even ever be able to legally call himself a human being. And yet he's inspired millions. What if, at the moment that he knew he had to send his two precious daughters into hiding to protect their safety, what if he and Harriet had just decided, you know what, enough is enough, and they had to look out for number one? Or it was just too exhausting to continue to fight tyranny even though they knew that's what it was? Those are some of the greatest. And what sets them apart is that they continued the fight. And they fought before they could ever even see that victory was actually in their path. They fought on, and that made them great. This historic moment, standing here today, you are a part of history that this country has never known. And yet, I would argue, you are a part of history that this country cannot live without. You are part of a movement that has grown too big for mainstream media to ignore any longer. Instead of sitting helplessly night after night and watching the evening news while all of our values were torn to shreds, guess what, folks? They're watching you. And what's really funny and ironic about that, doesn't it seem like nobody's watching them any longer? You have endured cold temperatures, hot pavement, stupid assertions, name-calling, lame candidates shoved down your throat, racist attacks, corner standing, grocery stores, long drives, high gas prices, and tea drinking. Do we even like tea? You've learned a whole bunch of new words, got an entirely new vernacular for this battle. You learned that sometimes now you want your HTTP more than your MTV because you know it is your zeitgeist. You know that you can blog your whole tweet, but you cannot tweet your whole blog. You can snark with your friends, but you can't make friends with the snarks. You find yourself doing things you never thought you would, but still you stood, and still they are watching. The whole world will know you because you are part of something that has never been done before. A real, honest, patriotic, passionate, steadfast, enduring, world-changing, and I don't care what they say, grassroots movement that is unstoppable. Big government has called us obscene names, torn our signs, confused and lied to our children, taken our money, murdered our soldiers, raped our republic, and what they don't even realize is that their very refusal to accept the truth is exactly what propels our action. So we fight on. Since they took our government, they've stolen our industry, sickened our health care, wronged our right to vote by secret ballot, enriched unions on the backs of small business, bilked our children, and tangoed with terrorists. But we continue to fight, and we grow. We are writing and reading great books like The Big Black Lie and Rules for Conservative Radicals and He Talked Like a White Boy, all of which you can get here today. We're confronting the racist politics that use people for votes. We are taking up petitions to defend our sacred right to the secret ballot. We are starting conservative radical universities to counter Alinsky's socialist tactics. We are strategically using all of our dollars for projects like the boycott. And we are humbling ourselves and we are turning away from all our wicked ways and standing on the promise that if we continue and if we persevere, like Lincoln, like Dred Scott, like you, that God will heal our land. And is it just me, or when you say that I pledge allegiance, does it just feel completely different than it ever felt before? We are here today to tell the world we will fight with everything we have because we're fighting for everything we have. We will fight as hard as the greatest generation fought. Our cause is different, but our resolve is clear. We honor our veterans. We're humbled by their sacrifice, and we would never compare ourselves to the greatest generations Yes, you want to clap for our veterans. I'm sure you've done it, but let's do it again. Can't do it too much. But friends, I believe that standing and sitting in front of me today are the most important, the greatest of this generation. You may not be aware of your greatness or your place in history yet, but I want you to know that I can see it. I see history books that tell the whole truth because you demanded them to tell the whole truth. I see books that will tell about little bags of tea and great big hearts that started a whole revolution. I see media that is really and truly fair and balanced, like the budget of the future. I see your children, and this is the most important part, I see your children telling the stories about the hours you spent, the miles you drove, the personal attacks you endured, the tears you cried, for them to live and know and tell the story of the greatest of this generation. And I can see what happens if you give up, or if you stop, or if you let them discourage you for a moment. Can you see that too? So I'm asking you today, friends, to fight on. Success is in your hands. They are watching. God is watching. Our children are watching. And fight on, because that is what will make you great. But I believe you are already the greatest of this generation, and I want you to know it's an honor to fight by your side. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, nice job, Gina Loudon. Ladies and gentlemen, next to the stage.